So we have the priest, we have the red heifer, we have the land, and we have everything ready. We just need to wait another 1.5 years.
These are the red heifers that landed at Israel's Ben Gurion Airport. Rabbis believe the ashes of a red heifer are necessary for purifying priests to serve in a future temple. The heifers were discovered and brought to Israel with the help of the Bonei Israel Building Israel organization and its team leader, Byron Stinson. Rabbis from the Temple Mount Institute approached Stinson about the unique cattle.
He said, Byron, could you look in Texas and find us a red heifer? I wasn't expecting that, and it was shocking to me to think about it, but I know a lot of ranchers, and I know a little bit about cattle, being from Texas, and I always say yes to these Jewish rabbis because they're my friends, and I love them, and why not?
This began an in-depth process of finding the rare heifer that meets key stipulations found in the Bible.
The Bible gives us a clue as to the significance of the red heifers here in Numbers chapter 19, verse 1 and 2, where it says that God spoke to Moses and Aaron saying, "This is the ritual law that God has commanded, instruct the children of Israel to bring you a red cow without blemish, in which there is no defect, and on which no yoke has been laid." So it says that we're supposed to take a perfectly red cow with no white hairs or dark hairs at all, and a cow that no yoke has ever been on. So as a result, it's very, very rare to find a baby cow that is completely red.
The ashes of the red heifer would be used to purify water from the Gihon spring in the city of David. Just a few ashes could purify thousands of gallons of water. That water can be then purified priests from any contact with a dead body, so they can offer sacrifice in the temple.
Some Jews go every single day to a ritual bath, to a mikveh, in order to approach God in prayer in purity. However, it is not the same because we don't have the red heifer. Once we have the red heifer, we'll be completely pure and we'll be able to rebuild the temple.
The red heifer must also be 2 years old. These cattle are just around a year old and could qualify in just over a year.
So if they're able to make it without growing the white hairs or black hairs, I think with 5 of them we have a really good chance of that. Then they will be the first one in 2,000 years.
The Jewish sage Maimonides from the 12th century said throughout the first and second temples there were 9 red heifers. He said the 10th would signal the appearance of the Messiah. That's why many are excited about this arrival. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
So this is the mold. Okay, this is the original mold of the second Cyrus Trump temple coin. And as you can see over here, let's see what we have. Okay, first of all, we have over here in Hebrew, lemalot 70 shana, to fulfill 70 years. The original verse, to fulfill 70 years, is when the Jews went out to exile, to the Babylonian exile. They were there for 70 years. And after 70 years, King Cyrus said, God, the Lord of the world, gave me permission to let you, the Jews, come back to the land of Israel. And look what he said. And he charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem. That happened about 2,500 years ago. 70 years. For the state of Israel, something happened again. One of the biggest leaders of the world again, President Donald Trump, and here we see the seal of America. He again recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, of the state of Israel, the people of Israel. And he also built a house in Jerusalem. But we don't want only the embassy. We hope, just as King Cyrus pushed us, the Jewish people, to rebuild the temple, we hope all the 70 nations and President Donald Trump, after he recognized Jerusalem as the spiritual, holy capital of the land of Israel, of the state of Israel, he will help us, the Jewish people, rebuild the third temple. And that's why we have the seal of America, the original Persian Empire.
Christianity and Islam and all the monotheism religious has a very, very important role to unify everybody to worship the true living God and to prosper and thrive according to God's will. It's so simple.
Do you think that the Vatican Pope Francis, he seems to have a similar message? Do you think that Rome will go along with this too? Do you think this is...
No, I don't think so. In the U.S. there are 30,000 denominations of Christianities. So, according to what we received, part of them will be part of the redemption, part of them no. It's very, very simple. So, whomever will accept to be exactly as the nations, whomever will come as a person to come to be to worship God, he will be part of the redemption. As simple as that.
Just look around you. Look who's sitting here. Where are you from? Jamaica. And you're from the USA. And you're from
Argentina.
Argentina. And where are you from? Guatemala. Look at this. Look at this. And we have somebody from India. It's unbelievable. Here in the center of Jerusalem, I'm surrounded people from other nations, and we're all talking about one thing, of the importance of Jerusalem, and the importance of peace, and the importance of the Geulah of redemption. So we're part of a prophetic process. That's what it's all about. And this president, he understood when nobody else understood. He understood we're not talking politics. We're not talking politics. We're talking Torah. We're talking prophets. That's what it's all about. And once we understand it, and I think he understood it, maybe he can't say it, but he knows. And he's pushing us. He's pushing us. And the whole world is there.
Can I ask,
where are you from?
England.
England, okay. We have England also.
Can I ask, you said earlier that some of the temple is ready to be built in a prefab state. Is that true? Do you have part of the temple already built?
And it's exactly what we said before. It's not enough to pray for the temple. And if you pray for something, you have to believe. And to show that you believe something, you have to do. So that's why we have a lot of vessels made. We have a big altar that was made. We have programs, and yes, also some of the pieces of the temple, like this blocks itself, can be just transferred exactly like the model we see over here, 15 times bigger than this, and the temple can be built.
As Trump says, every nation will keep his language his culture, his beliefs. It's not globalization.
Okay.
It's to walk one God on Temple Mount.
What is a Muslim? Let's talk. What is a Muslim? Muslim in the Hebrew world is perfect. Whomever talked to God is perfect. According to the Quran, Ibrahim was Muslim. Moses was Muslim. He was perfect, and they got into a conclusion that the Messiah will be their Mahdi. Their Mahdi. So whenever I meet Muslims in many countries, I tell them, who was Muslim according to the Quran? Abraham, I'm from Ibrahim. Musa, I'm from Musa, I'm Levi. And the Messiah will be the Mahdi. So actually our history is the same, our future is the same, so what is the problem now? And they ask us, really, what is the problem? I'm saying that the problem is only the radicals, they're the terrorists. But whenever everybody will support building the third temple, then everybody will prosper, because this is what this temple is for the whole world. So you think that there could be some union between all the religions as part of this?
Absolutely. We already have unity, but everybody's afraid from the terrorists. But, okay, so this is our job, to unify everybody to worship the only true living God in the third temple with all the nations that will worship God.
Hashem will be a king, the one king that will unite the whole world. So yes.
So you see that Jacob and Esau reuniting in the last days, so Muslims and Jews and Christians would be part of this one world, including some Kabbalistic and Eastern influences, all into one kind of religion in this temple. Is that?
I won't call it one kind of religion and one kind of understanding.
Like a new way of thinking.
It's understanding that there is one God in heaven.
So it's kind of a new way, a higher consciousness, a higher way of thinking.
Exactly. And at the end of times, everybody will understand that Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad.
Okay.
God is one.
Okay, so but this is a similar design to the third temple, and it's a very sort of kingly temple, isn't it? And I wanted to ask you, this lamp. So you've got the lamp, that would be the lamp of Queen Helena, who is a Persian. I mistakenly thought it was Constantine's mother, Helena, but this is a Persian Queen Helena.
She was very fond of the Jewish people, as she converted to Judaism herself, and the sages liked her very much. And when she wanted to donate something to the temple, so she made this candelabra made of gold. And when the sun used to rise from the east, would hit the gold candelabra, and it would spread the light like symbolically, but not only symbolically, from the temple.
So it reflects the sun.
It reflects the sun. Exactly.
As it rises from the east, and this is what we're seeing in this picture over here, right? This is the sun reflection from the lamp of Queen Helena.
That's right.
And so we've got that kind of Persian thing again, and would it be right to say that there's some element of Kabbalah in this temple?
Well, Kabbalah is actually the inner part of the Torah. We have what the Torah tells us, and it's written in the Torah, And the Kabbalah is actually what isn't written, but we have to want to understand maybe about little Persia and these all ancient nations,
Eastern
nations.
religions.
So it's maybe religions.
So would you describe this as like a kind of a new world order, so to speak?
This is not an order. This is not order. It's different. It's the new world without any, let's say, negative and forbidden feelings, like hatred, like revenge. Like it will be only loving, appreciation, honoring. So this will be a new world, but not all order. It will be a new world, holistic, the holistic way, the way God wants it.
On here it says the Persian Empire. Do you think that this temple could somehow unite Islam, Muslim religion with Christianity and Judaism? Do you think that's...
So if we're talking about the Persian Empire, we know now that in Iran, which is where Persia is now, there's some different empire, but we're talking about the original Persian Empire. And yes, even in Iran, we have Iranians who are not Jewish who want this coin because they understand that yes, this is the place that will unite the whole world. And yes, the Jewish people have the power to unite the whole world. It's not us, not just Jewish people, but as long as we are talking the words of Hashem, that's what Hashem is. Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. Hashem is the one which can unite everybody.
Messiah will be the judge.
You believe the Mashiach ben David is coming to
Mashiach
this
ben David
temple?
is very soon, and he is a Jew, and he is not Jesus. And if the Christians want to hold it, they can hold it.
And Mashiach ben David would potentially be the Messiah that would rule over this unity, this one world unity.
The first king we had that was a real king was King David, and we know that the king that will be eventually leading the world will also be from Yehuda, like you said, Mashiach ben David, or eventually the leader of the world will be a king, but not a political king, but a spiritual king that will help all of us understand together what we are supposed to be doing in this world.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus is described as the Lion of the tribe of Judah and the Son of David. Do you think that maybe Jesus, Yeshua, could be the true Messiah, and we might have maybe a counterfeit that could show up?
People will understand. It's like, I don't know, a small kid when you offer him chocolate, or an adult. If you offer money, nobody's gonna say no to money, which is something very not spiritual. When we have the right understanding of what's important in the world, it'll be obvious to all of us that that's what we want. Everybody will be running after spirituality. So when that time comes, everybody will want it.
Okay, so we believe that the Antichrist will actually be the head of this deception before the real Mashiach comes. That's where we differ on our thinking at the moment.
The third temple. Now, if you think we're just cherry picking this off the internet, one guy wearing an unauthorized temple patch, paid for, by the way, a uniform paid by us, armaments paid for by us, the U.S. taxpayer pays for all this stuff one way or another. The U.S. taxpayer pays for the military of Israel. Boy, does it. If you think we're being unfair and just like found one guy Well, here's a bunch of guys. It took us about 2 minutes on the internet to find this today. Here is a selection of IDF soldiers. Let's put it on the screen. There you go. And all of them have the same patch. Look familiar. Look carefully at that. What is that? That's the temple. That is the third temple. And we'll get to in a minute about how this might actually happen and what it would mean for the rest of the world. And just to be clear, these are conversations that most Americans, certainly me included, never wanted to have. Everybody's religious beliefs, sincere religious beliefs, when held up to the light of the rational world, to the man-made world, seem a little spooky and crazy, which is one of the reasons that in the culture some of us grew up in, we don't talk about them in public because they're personal. They're the most personal part of a person. So it is without judgment, by the way, that we're airing this, okay? Just describing it because it is significant to the future of the world, to the future of this war, and to our future as Americans. So how exactly did the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, a military that the U.S. taxpayer pays for, that lots of wealthy Americans send money to friends of the IDF, how did all these guys wind up wearing patches suggesting the point of this war was the destruction of one of the holiest places in Islam and the rebuilding of a temple that is totally anathema to Christianity? Like, how did this happen? Well, there are a lot of ways it happened. The main way it happened is because no one in the United States noticed, because it's such a secular place, and as noted, we have eyes but can't see and ears and can't hear, but this has been going on a long time in public through, in part, the efforts of a group called Chabad, Chabad. And you may know people who give money to Chabad or run into Chabad, super nice people, engaged in all kinds of charitable activities, drug rehab. There's a lot about Chabad that's really good. But what is Chabad exactly? Well, Chabad, you can look it up, is a very old organization, about 250 years old. And it's a branch of Hasidic Judaism. It's an organization that was overseen for many years by a guy called Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, who was famously in Brooklyn, considered the Messiah by some of his followers, who was a friend of presidents, or certainly someone presidents visited. He was a very powerful man in the Orthodox and the Hasidic community. And he was the overseer of Chabad, which predated him and outlasted him, but he was its most visible ambassador. And Chabad has been pushing in a pretty subtle way, unless you look carefully, for the reconstruction of the Third Temple. And it seems like, from the reading we did recently, that those patches actually came from Chabad. Well, in any case, Chabad is pushing for the building of the Third Temple. But it's not just Hasidic groups from Brooklyn, and it's not just IDF soldiers. There are, amazingly, a lot of American evangelical leaders, Christian Zionists, whose main point is rebuilding the Third Temple. Now, how could an American Christian, or any Christian, call for the building of a temple whose inherent presence denies Christ? Who said clearly, and Christians believe this, it's a core point of faith, I am the temple. You want to speak to God, you speak through me. That's Christianity. That's the whole religion right there. So if you're a Christian preacher calling for the rebuilding of the Third Temple, you kind of missed the whole point